This is the MUSE M5 Ultra. I've got it in vacuum tube mode, so you can see it's lit up. I don't really feel it get warm. I don't know if it does or not. I've had it on for a while, ran the battery down to 0, and didn't really feel it too warm. When you buy it, it comes in this, it comes with this kind of fancy box. You open it up, and if I can get hold of it, the device sits here, right? Nothing underneath that. It's kind of stuck in there. And if we close that, it's got this drawer that pulls out really, really stiff. It's got the cable that I've got on here, which is USB-C to USB-C. It has an adapter for USB-A, and then it has a USB-C to Apple dongle style. Inside of this box is the leather case that it comes with, and some like instructions and stuff, and the little card saying it was made by them, I guess. And on the back, it has it's kind of hard to tell, but it's got all the instructions not instructions, all the technical details. So nice case. I don't really care about cases, whatever. Presentations, I care mostly about how it operates. Let's push this out so you can see. There's a lot of videos on this already, so I'm sure you guys have already seen stuff about it, but just for the sake of this one, I'll go ahead and go through it. So got your power button, your plus and minus volume button, mode button, and then the up and down arrows toggle through the mode. When you're so when you put it into mode, you can see the USB is blinking, so you can switch from USB to Bluetooth. So I can press that up. So now I'm in Bluetooth, and I'm back to USB. I can go to H, which is high gain, low gain, medium, high. I keep it on high because, honest to God, this thing's kind of underpowered. F3, so those are different filters. I played with every single filter, and like with almost every DAC I've ever tried that has the ability to switch between filters, I couldn't tell the difference. I mean, every now and then, depending on how many filters they have, I might be able to hear a slight bit of difference, but usually there's just nothing. And then the final, let me go back to it, the final mode is sorry, I'm going too fast. There we go. Is VT, which is vacuum tube, or TM, which is transistor mode. So vacuum tube, transistor mode. Honestly, between the two, depending on the gear I listen to, I did like the vacuum tube mode better, but not because it sounded so vacuum tubey, I guess you'd say, but just I like the overall tonality and presentation. So we'll cover that stuff in a minute here. It's got a very nice design. I mean, it's a beautiful device. If I was pulling this out to show friends to try and show off or something, yeah, I mean, this is beautiful. And it's got this nice leather case that even with the case on, you can still see a lot of that, right? You can see the buttons, you can see the vacuum tubes with the nice grill work, and the bottom here it connects in the top. And it's a very nice case, very nice case. It reminds me a lot of the Cayenne M Pro 3, I think it was, M Pro 6. It was a Cayenne device that was, under $500 that was both transistor mode and vacuum tube mode. And it was very, very similar to this, and it came with a really nice green case that was similar to this as well. But that device sounded better than this device, to be honest, and I guess up front about that. So let's get into, I have the BTR, the FiiO BTR7, the Q-Style M15, not the M15i, which I don't really know what the difference is. I'll have to look that up. And the Moon River 2 Ti, which is titanium, I guess. These are beautiful devices, all of them, right? I've got the little bear over here, and you guys are probably wondering, why is there a $100 device that's like 10 years old? Well, maybe not 10 years, but it's old, sitting there. And this is the single-ended one, and I swapped out the op-amp originally for a Burson V5i. So anyway, I've had this for a long time. I love this device. This is a tube device, and I'll get to later why that's here. M6 Pro was kind of the primary device I used for all this. Also used my phone. Also used my phone is the Samsung Galaxy Fold 6. I also used my laptop. And that's about it. I have a lot of other equipment here that I use for listening to headphones and not, you know, IEMs and that kind of thing, just for testing and just for enjoyment. But primarily, I tested it against what you see here on the table. Now, when I say tested against, I'm only talking about sound quality, because obviously the M6 Pro, which is my favorite device, that's why it's here. If you've watched my videos before, you probably heard me talk about that. I did a head-to-head with this and Sony and Stellan. I think Stellan Kurt. No, not Stellan Kurt. Sony and FiiO, and this won out over both of them. It's still, I've listened to other devices since, and I still come back to this one as being probably one of my favorite all-time. This is the Shanling M6 Pro. Now, back to the MUSE Ultra, HiFi Ultra. Here's the thing. I'll go straight into the sound. I mean, it's a beautiful device. Everything works great. The battery life's fine. Not great. I mean, I honestly went through the full battery in a few hour session when I used it in tube mode with the volume up. In just a few hours, maybe 3-4 hours, that battery was down to like less than a bar. It was like just about out. The construction is phenomenal. I mean, there is nothing about this that I would look at and go, oh, that's a cheap device. They didn't really care. They just slammed it together. There's some devices I bought out of, say, China or whatever that were just like, you know, kind of garbagey. Even the little bear is a little bit junky in the way it's made. But that said, I mean, this is, like I said, very nice device. I was very excited to get it. Then I listened to it. And I don't want to sound negative. I'm not putting this device down. I have a lot of experience with different equipment like this, and of course, that sets the bar for me, right? As far as IEMs, I used my Mest MX, I don't know, whatever, version 1 or something. It's one of my all-time favorites. Used the Fearless S8Z, and this coupled with the right device is a fantastic set of headphones. I mean, IEMs. But with the wrong device, they're a little bit trebly, spiky, kind of in your face, with not a lot of good low end. So I like to try them. I like to mix them in, because depending on the device, for instance, the Moon River TI and these are a match made in heaven, whereas some of the other devices, not so much. And then, of course, I got this recently. This is, this right here is the Mega 5 EST limited edition. There's so many names now. I get they got to have all these names because, or all these crazy names, because there's so many IEMs on the market, it's hard to find a name that hasn't been taken, I guess, right? Or that has some kind of meaning. So anyway, these are the three I'm testing with, because these are 3 IEMs that I this one's brand new, spoiler alert, I love this thing. I put it up here alongside the Mest as far as the sound quality, the reproduction of sound. So that's why I was going with these 3. I did try some other IEMs, just FYI, and I even tried a set of headphones. I tried my focal clears, and what else did I try? Yeah, just my focal clears. No, you know what? I did also use my focal bathies or whatever they're called, plugged into the line on this, using it in line mode, and those also have great soundless focals. So onto the sound of this device in transistor mode. Okay, that's solid state circuit, DAC, blah, blah, blah. Connected through Bluetooth. I just didn't like it that much. It was okay. The BTR7 connected through Bluetooth, and this in Bluetooth, because that's a fair comparison. This is a solid state device, and in this one in solid state mode. This has a better tonality, better detail retrieval, or I don't know if it's retrieval. You know, that's I guess a very subjective thing to talk about, right? When you say detail. So by detail, I particularly mean that when I'm listening to a song and there's information in that song, like maybe somebody walks into the studio and shuts the door, or the drummer is hitting a stick on the side of the snare, and he's just tapping the wood onto the rim of it, right? I've heard that sometimes. Or maybe their bass player's plucking the guitar strings, and you can hear the sound when his finger plucks it, as well as the tone of the string, as well as maybe the vibration of it when it taps against a fret or something, right? So that's deep detail, and not all recordings have that kind of detail, but there are quite a few, and I have some good high quality recordings that even stuff that I don't like as much, right? But I've had recommended to me by other, let's say, audiophiles, as being really solid recordings, and I'll go check them and listen to them to see if they do have that. So I do have some music that has that kind of information in it. So when I'm talking about detail, I'm talking about the retrieval of that kind of information, as well as the timbre, which is kind of how real it sounds, the tonality, the stage, the imaging, that is where it's at, if it's in the correct position, blah, blah, blah. You know, all those things are lend themselves to detail in my mind. So this device is better than this device for that, all right? For solid state mode, Bluetooth connected, I prefer the BTR7. And as a side note, the BTR7 is very, very light compared. This thing's heavy. This thing and my M6 Pro, this feels heavier than my M6 Pro. And I don't know if it's just because it's smaller and you know, maybe denser, but I feel like the battery in here might be bigger than my M6 Pro, because this feels actually fairly light compared to this. I want to say this and the Little Bear are the same weight. That's how they feel. You know what? I've got a little scale here. Let me pull it out and we'll find out exactly what this stuff weighs, right? If I had a little scale, and I don't want to see any comments about, oh, why has he got a drug scale? I bought a weight for like a postal scale for measuring, and this came with it for some reason. Not that I really ever use it, but it's set on grams right now. So here's this device first. With the cable on it, it's 197 grams. The M6 Pro, 242 grams, right? I said this was lighter. It feels lighter in the hand than this does. That's kind of crazy, but it's not. It's actually heavier by about 60 grams. And this guy is 256 grams. So this is lighter than those two. 196 grams. So not by much. By about 25 grams, it's lighter. It's not as portable as the FiiO. I guess that's the whole point of all that. It's not as portable as the FiiO. The FiiO is much tinier, as you can see, and much lighter. So in that regards, the FiiO wins against this. Now, currently, this BTR7, and this is prices tested because I went online before I made the video and checked all the prices. But prices tested on the BTR7 is $129. Prices tested, well, I just bought this about a month ago. I got it on sale. I don't know why. The retail is $299, and I got this for $269 with tax and shipping and everything. Yeah, I guess it was probably like $280 or something. So the Q Style M15, $244. The Moon River TI 161 right now. For me, BTR wins. I'm going to put that guy over here. Okay. Now, I can't really compare these two to it. They're not Bluetooth, so I can only go by the sound out of USB. Now, for all these devices, including the BTR7, if we're just talking about USB connected sound, this Q Style M15 wins hands down, best sounding device on this table other than the M6 Pro. The Q Style M15 actually sounds a lot like my FiiO K9 PRO ESS, right? It sounds a lot like it, like crazy how much it sounds like it. So let's go on to sound. Keep going with the sound in this thing. So BTR7 wins. It is more detail in the detail retrieval department. Well, I should say it's very similar in the detail retrieval. All right, very similar, but the tonality of this that I get through IEMs is superior. I really enjoy listening to this. This fell kind of flat on me. Like I was trying different things out and plugging different headphones, IEMs, and plugging into different sources. I tried, my iPad, my computer, my phone. I tried everything with USB. The thing is this: when you come across a device, an audio device that has something special, that you really like the sound, you get that feeling of wanting to go and re-listen to your music library, right? I have a Roon server and everything's connected through Roon, and that works really well for me. And so it's easy for me to just go start picking out music from my library. With this, I kept flipping between songs and changing different IEMs out and flipping between tube mode and vacuum tube mode and transistor mode. And I never really thought, I want to hear everything again. Nothing sounded great to me. Everything sounded okay. And I'm guessing if this is the first device like this kind of device, portable DAC amp, the Bluetooth, this is the first one you buy, you're probably going to be very happy with this. You're probably going to go, it sounds really good. Because it does sound fine. Detail retrieval's fine. I just, hearing against so many other things, it's easy for me to hear the difference and know what I like and don't like, and know what sounds better. This device, the Moon River TI, does not sound better. This actually sounds better than this, except if I pair this with the S8Zs. Literally, that's the only thing that I like this device with is those S8Zs. This right here, I tried it with everything, and it kind of fell flat for me in transistor mode. So, I don't really know what else to say. Soundstage was normal. Imaging was fine. I tried some songs that like Yo-Yo Ma's Trappings. I like that song for imaging because there's videos that show the placement of everybody that's playing, and you can see on what devices actually show those people in the right place, right? So it was fine for that. It wasn't fantastic, but it was fine. Totally acceptable. Bass response, bass was okay on this. It was, I would say this, the bass in transistor mode was fine. It wasn't sharp or snappy. It was a little bit bloated, I should say, like a little bit. The bass kind of rounded off more than I would like on certain things like fast kick drum hits, or a lot of, like, because I listen to a lot of jazz. So, snare, right? And that kind of splashy snare that you hear a lot with jazz. Sharp bass string pulls, right, that you hear in jazz. Trumpets, things like that. The bass was it was there, but it was just not like exactly what I like. It felt a little rounded off, not quite sharp. There wasn't a lot of texture and detail in the bass that I like from some other devices. The mid-range vocals were, I would say, not forward. They were kind of flat, kind of just along with everything else. Nothing stood out. There weren't super high highs in the treble. The treble wasn't in your face. The vocals weren't in your face. Everything was just kind of on a flat plane. So again, sound quality's fine. The detail retrieval's fine. It's just not an exciting device, I guess I would say, sound-wise. I don't plug it in and go, oh, wow, I want to listen to everything again. No, it wasn't that at all. It was like, okay, this is going on eBay right away. That's what this was. And I'm telling you this not because I'm putting them down. Okay, this is a really nice device, and there might be people who listen to it and love this device. This is my hearing and my taste in sound that I'm talking about. I just, if you're going to spend, because Christmas is coming, so if you're going to spend $269, that's the current sale price that I see this being listed at. It's got the fancy case, and it's got everything else, and it's a cool-looking device, and it's got Bluetooth as well as USB. You know, and you could switch between tube, which we'll get into the tube sound in just a minute, but you could switch between tube and transistor mode. So in that sense, it's kind of above the others here in that sense, functionality sense. But as far as sound quality goes, this device has the best sound quality on the table. It's very close to the M6 Pro, but this has the best solid state sound right here out of these devices. As far as functionality and Bluetooth, the sound coming through Bluetooth, this device has the best Bluetooth reproduction sound for me, for my taste. The way that it sounds, you know, I can listen to music on this for a very long time. It's comfortable, and I really enjoy the way it sounds. This one, I just got tired of it really quick. And it wasn't like it was wearing me out tired. It was just like I wasn't excited by the music tired. So that's where that was. So that's enough of that. Let's go to the vacuum tube. So I love tube sound. And this is something I've had a lot of experience with. I've had a lot of tube amps over the years. And I have the dark voice. If you watch any of my older videos, you may have seen me talk about it. I think I may have even done a video on it. And on my dark voice, I even went as far as modifying the circuitry on it, where I added jumpers and resistors and things inside to clean it up and get rid of any background hum. And my dark voice has a very dark background. Like there is no hum on any IEM or headphone that I put into it. Very clean, yet it has a really nice, I swapped the tubes out, of course, did some tube rolling on it, and it has a very nice tube sound. So I really enjoy my dark voice. That's downstairs on my stereo system. It's not here in my office where I do all this kind of work. And I have the Little Bear, which I love this device. I've had this for years and years now, and every time I get something new tube style device, I always compare it against this. And I got to say, this almost always wins. They've got the new version, the BX4, which is balanced. It has two op amps, and the circuit is completely split, so it's completely balanced. It's truly balanced. And it has an on-off switch. It actually has some advancement over this one. It has, I think, a 2.5 or 4.4 on here. I'm not really sure. I'd have to go look. But I thought about getting it, but that thing right now is only $109. You can get it on Amazon for $109. And you can get the Burson amps like I've got here. You can get a set of two for that device that's $69. So for $69, you can have a portable, completely truly balanced, because a lot of things say they're balanced, but the circuitry says something else. A truly balanced portable tube amp for $185 total with tax and everything. And you just have to open it up and swap out the op amps. If you want to, it sounds really good with the op amp it comes with. I just like to tinker. So I put the Burson in there, and I do think it sounds a little bit better with the Burson, tonality a little bit better, and clarity a tiny bit better, but not a lot. You could just go with what it comes with and you'd be happy. But I always come back to that guy. So this got compared against this heavily, right? Because I'm listening to the tube on this. I switched into the vacuum tube, and I went back through everything again, all the different IEMs. And the thing that I heard was when I turned on the tube, the bass got very muddy. Like it was less sharp, less impactful, and it felt muddy to me. It felt like so I let this burn in. In fact, I left this plugged in playing in vacuum tube mode for like 8 hours, just all day, just playing. I had it plugged into power, and that's right. I ran the battery out on this guy, charged it, and ran it again. That's what I did. But I let it really burn in. I didn't just play it, right? Don't let anyone fool you. People love to say, "Oh, you've got to let it burn in for 100 hours." That's not true. Okay, tubes burn in right after they're fired up. And if you ever look at a tube on a tube amplifier, you'll see the tops have this silverish black coating on there, right? They didn't put that in there. That is a process that happens in the tube when it fires up, and it creates that basically like soot on the top of the tube, but it's a chemical reaction that occurs inside of it. And you can read about that. So tubes burn in quickly. The sound you get out of a tube 3 or 4 hours after you've fired it up for the first time is the sound you're typically going to have going forward until that tube's no good anymore. And let's also be realistic that tubes don't get better, they wear out. So tubes were good. Well, like I said, they give it a 3 or 4 hour burn in, And then from that point, it's just slowly degrading, in such a small amount that you're not going to notice for years, probably, if ever. But it is, in fact, actually slowly degrading. Now, this tube in here, right away, like I said, sounded kind of muddy. I didn't hear an increase in clarity, increase in detail. And when I listen to a tube, I expect that there's a loss of detail. I expect that. So it's not something I'm worried about. What I do also expect is that I get a fullness, and I'm going to use a word that's going to be totally subjective, a sweetness to the music, to the tones coming from guitar strings, from vocals, trumpets, drums, everything. I hear an expansion of the note, an expansion of that sound, like it gets kind of pulled open a little bit or stretched out a little bit. I expect that from a tube, and it's in varying degrees. Sometimes it's very slight, and sometimes it's very exaggerated. And it depends on the type of tube and the way you've got it paired, and so many factors, right? So the dark voice I have tuned in a way that I love listening to that thing. It's got just enough of that sweetness and stretching of the sound that everything sounds a little bit more I don't know how to say it without sounding ridiculous, but it sounds a little more like heavenly, I guess is the word I'd use. It's just like, it's more beautiful. So if I'm in the mood for that, and I know I might lose a little detail, then that's what I'll listen to. And I will say on that device, the bass is more impactful when I'm playing on my dark voice. Little Bear is very similar to that. Little Bear, when I plug it in, gives me actually great detail and clarity. I don't really find a loss of detail with this device at all, but it gives me a real tube sound. Like, it makes things sound more beautiful. I'll give you an example. There's a couple of songs, and I was listening to them on this device, the S8Z, because this plays really good with tube amps. So I was listening to this on here, plugged into my M6 Pro. And I was listening to a song by, God dang it, I can't remember now. It's a female artist, and she plays guitar and sings, and Eva Cassidy. There's a song by her I was listening to. And I felt kind of emotional when I started listening to it. And I was like, wow, and if you've been doing this for a while, you may have had this experience where you find a pairing between equipment and it sounds so beautiful, or something about it, it makes an emotional connection to you when you're listening to it. And I felt that right away. In fact, I listened to a bunch of music after that because I forgot about what I was doing. I kind of pushed everything aside, and I was like, just listening to this because it just sounded so beautiful, right? Now, over here, plugged in to this guy in tube mode, completely flat. Like bass was gone, mid-range was muddy, bass was muddy, detail was, I guess it was kind of there, but the highs felt muted. I did not like tube mode on this. It wasn't like a huge difference, but it was a downgrade in sound is what it was for me. I did not find that uplifting tube sound that I look for when I listen to tube devices. The Little Bear connected to the FiiO. I connected it to this guy right here. I connected the Little Bear connected to this right here, the Q-Style M15. Holy smokes. That was also a beautiful, emotional type of connecting sound. So I didn't even bother with this one, and there's reasons why. I'll have a video about this, the Moon River, and you'll hear why. But the BTR7, the M6 Pro, the Q-Style M15 plugged into the Little Bear just blew this thing out the door. Now, you got to think about this, right? If I want to listen to, let's say, plugged into my computer or Bluetooth sound, and I want tube, I got to do this, right? I got to do this, or plug it into the M6 Pro, or plug it into this, and plug this in. So I've got 2 to 3 devices all connected together so that I can hear it. Whereas with this one, I've just got the one. Plug this into a computer or laptop, or do it through Bluetooth, and I've just got this. And god dang it, I wanted this thing to be, I was excited when I ordered this because I've heard some good reviews, but you just never know, there's, I don't want to talk about anyone. So I'll just say this generally, that there's a lot of reviewers who have built their channels up and are making good money now, and they don't want any chance of wrecking that. And because here's the thing, if you start talking bad about a product, the vendor of that product will stop sending you things, or they just won't contact you. And the only way you can get it is through paying your own money to buy it. And that's fine. That's what I do. I use my own money to buy this stuff. But I feel like then it becomes dishonest, and I need to be honest. And because you're going to spend your hard-earned money on this stuff, and it's not fair for me to like give you some phony review so that I can make a buck, and then you go out and spend your money and are super disappointed. And the only place I found this right now, and maybe that's going to change, but was on HiFi Go. There may be some other places that are selling this too, but I don't want to talk about vendors like HiFi Go and those guys, but a lot of the Chinese vendors, if you buy something from them and there's something wrong with it, or if you just don't want it, you hear this and you're like, I don't like it, and you try to do a return, they make you pay the shipping back to them. And you know what? They're in China. So to ship this little guy back, it's going to be like $100. So I'm going to get a refund of $269, but I'm going to lose $100. So I'm only going to actually get $169 back. At that point, you're better off trying to sell it on eBay. Then you got to take photos and load it on eBay and blah, 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 all that work and effort, right? So for me, it's better for you to avoid. If you are an audiophile type person and you have been listening to all sorts of stuff and you have a good idea what you like and don't like, I'm not sure if you'll like this device. I'm just going to give you that forewarning that the tube sound, the Little Bear is a much better purchase if all you're looking for is tube sound. If you're thinking, I'm going to get this device and I'll just have to have one device for everything, I don't think you're going to be happy with this tube-wise. Here's the thing. The Little Bear, you see these tubes? These are full on, military tubes. That makes a difference. These are tiny little, they're like pencil lead tubes in there. In fact, I'm pretty sure that light you're seeing isn't the tube. I'm pretty sure it's like an LED behind the tube. I'm not, like when I turn on the Little Bear, you see it warm up and you see the tube start to come on and you see the light in the background. I don't know if you can see it yet, but it's starting to come up, and it'll get brighter and brighter until these things are warmed up all the way. And that's because that color is coming from what's happening inside the tube. So it's the real deal. They're real tubes. These are real tubes, but they're just so small that they don't have the same effect. And the other thing with tubes is, I've had such good luck with this guy, and I haven't bought the balanced one because I thought I've had this experience where I order a device, a tube device, because I got one already and I want to get the next one up, and I get it and it doesn't sound good because I got lucky with the tubes I got. They were matched well. Everything was, these tubes, because you can get one tube and then get the exact model of that tube, buy another one, and they'll give you different sound. Not a lot, but they can give you different sound. When I was a kid, I had this experience with my mom where we had a television and that television had tubes in it. And so when I was a little kid, if something didn't work, my mom would pull open the back of the TV and look for a tube that wasn't lit up, and we'd turn the TV off, and then she'd take that tube out, and we'd go down to the drugstore, which had a tube testing machine, and I was a little kid, she would stand there holding my hand, and she'd put the tube in and press the button, and it would test the tube and tell you if it was bad or good, and then you'd look down underneath for the tube that was yours, and you'd take it and go pay for it. And then we'd go home, we'd plug the tube in and turn the TV back on. So I've had experience with tubes like literally all my life. And on a tube testing machine, two tubes of the exact same manufacturer can and will have a different output. It's just a fact. So you could get one of these that maybe sounds fantastic. I could be completely wrong. Maybe I got one where the tubes just aren't that great. They just didn't spec out or something. I don't know what the deal is. But as far as a tube device goes, this is not it. This does not give tube sound. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it's the tube sound. It was so tubey. Oh, I love that tube sound. But I don't get it. I don't hear tube sound on this. And the sound I hear was far degraded from the transistor version, so the solid state version. Whereas when I'm plugged into the Little Bear, there's an upgrade to the sound. That's what I get. So for me, this device, as far as the tube part goes, forget it. This just doesn't exist for me. So really, for me, all I would be buying is a solid state. And at $269, and I have to buy it through a vendor who I'm probably going to have a hard time returning it, I'm going to go, I would keep this guy. This was $244 right now, I think. Yeah, that's what I checked. The latest price was $244. I paid more than that for this, but this is worth every penny of that $244, in my opinion. This sound quality on this is right on par with this device that's up like $800. So yeah, this is superior sound wise as far as transistor mode goes. BTR7 superior transistor wise as far as this goes, right? Transistor mode, this is far superior, and this guy's only $129 right now, and it's Bluetooth, and it has an app on the phone that you can get to control this, and you can do EQ and a whole bunch of other stuff through your phone on this device. This device, for me, honestly, is better than any of these devices because of the amount of feature and control you have over it, and the fact that it has a very, very pleasant and sound that it produces. So, so for this device, oh, shoot, I hit the mic. Sorry, guys. So for this device, I just can't really give it the thumbs up. Like I said, if you haven't heard anything, and this is the only thing you're listening to, okay, you might be okay with it. You might be happy with it. I don't know. I didn't feel like the transistor sound was good, and I definitely felt like the tube sound was not good. So that's my video on this, my review on this. I hope it helps you in some way to make a good decision. And please subscribe and or like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.